Welcome to Slope Reliability, the show where we learn about reliability, observability, and resilience one day at a time. I'm your host, Stephen Townsend. Welcome back to Slope Reliability. I'm Stephen Townsend, and this is the show where we learn about reliability and observability and resilience, one episode at a time. Today, I am joined by Wendy Ha, and Wendy is a software engineer with a strong interest in DevOps, platform engineering, and SRE. She's also a passionate open source contributor and is currently working on the Kubernetes release team, one of the world's largest open source projects. She's taken on leadership roles as the release signal lead for Kubernetes 1.33 and release lead shadow for version 1.34, where she focuses on improving release processes and mentoring new contributors into the open source space. She's also a proud advocate of women in tech, the deaf and hard of hearing community, and women-led entrepreneurship. When she's not coding or contributing to the community, you'll find her enjoying a good coffee or exploring the Dandenong trails. She's also deeply committed to mental health advocacy and breaking the stigma around mental well-being for women in tech. Wendy, how are you today?
Hi, Stephen. I'm doing really well today. Yeah, it's kind of like a night in Melbourne already, but really ready to have a chance to chat with you. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing better. Yes, we've had to reschedule a few times. I had influenza. I was out of work for a couple of weeks and my brain was just fried. So it's good to be healthy again. And it's also good that we seem to have figured out our connectivity issues because we've been struggling all night to get this interview to work correctly. So yes, we finally got there. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. So I just finished all of the work today. And now it's real time for me to focus in some, normally it's my days. We'll sleep into two parts. The first part, from 9 to 5, I will mainly to focus in my work at the company. So I'm a software engineer, a junior software engineer in the engineering observability team at the moment. And I will prioritize for all of my work within a day. And after 5 p.m., so normally on my schedule in a week, I will wrap up everything and go back into my home and start to working in open source, start to connect with my team in Kubernetes release team and review all the activity, what we are doing now in a day. So it's my normal schedule. And today is a little bit special because I will have a chat with you. And after I wrap up everything, I will open the Slack in Kubernetes and start to review the work for the day. So.
Oh, wow. You are very busy. And actually, that is the theme today. We're going to talk about your open source journey within the Kubernetes release team, which is awesome. I don't think I've ever met anyone contributing to Kubernetes and the way that you do, so I'm really excited to talk about your experiences.
Yep.
Maybe just in general, how did you even begin to be part of the Kubernetes project?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And actually, that's also one of the most common questions I usually to receive every time when people hear I introduce this is Wendy Ha and she works in the Kubernetes release team. First of all, just think about how I start first. So back into 2023, when I still at the uni in that time, it's 2 years ago. So it's one of my friends at the moment, I try to gain more experience and understand about the technology industry and try to figure out what I want to do next after I graduate. As one of the people nearly graduated at that time. I did a couple of internships back into 2023, but I still try to figure out what I want to do because I feel taking very, very big field. And if I say I want to become a software engineer, but actually what I'm doing, which part of the software engineer I want to in charge. I can be a front-end, back-end, or even a platform engineer or develop engineer, but I couldn't find the answer back into that time. So I joined a lot of different mentoring programs back into 2023 from different companies, from Cisco, from Dell, from AWS. And one of the mentoring programs is named Cisco Mentor Me back into 2023. So it targets into all of the female students who study about computer science, IT, or information system. And they try to support the female students to break into the technology and start working in the technology field. back into like that time in Cisco Mentor Me, they provide me opportunity to do a lot of like job shadowing with like different team, different like mentor, different business function within Cisco back into 2023. So I did a few of like job shadowing with different team from like software engineer with the Cisco Enterprise in the embedded system team. So they mainly focus in back end. I did another job shadowing with one of the business analysis team and another job shadowing with one of very special team that I still remember, that's in the site reliability team of one of the Cisco business name Dual Security. So I just want to know like how a day of the site reliability software engineer look like back into that time. And I just spent, I think like I spent the whole day like from 9 a.m. like follow one of the SRE in Dual Security in Cisco, like how he start in the day, how he do the stand up. They discussed with the team how he like try to like manage his ticket at that moment, how he do the on call in the day. And actually it's very interesting for me in that shadow. So back into ending of the program, like I just thinking what I need to do next. And like just thinking about entire software development life cycle. So if you're learning in the uni, you have a lot of opportunity to do something like about the planning, about the requirement gathering in some of a project, a custom project at the uni. And then you can do a little bit about design, implementation, and testing. But you rarely touch into the part of the deployment or like how to deploy your project, how to make it scalable, how to let people in the internet to access into your project. I didn't have opportunity to do a lot of learning about a deployment process for software back into 2023. And after the shadowing with the SRE team in Cisco, like I really want to learn more about that deployment process and like about the maintenance, how to make the system become like scalable and like reliable. And I start to learning. And one of the first software I learned at that moment, that's about Kubernetes. So I just want to learn about Kubernetes. And the best way to learn Kubernetes back into that time that I just go into the website like kubernetes.io and they have a tutorial for everyone like Kubernetes 101, try to learn about it. When I start to do the learning about Kubernetes 101, like the website have a lot of like outdated content at that moment, and a lot of links cannot linkable. And if you click on that, it will lead you to a page the error page, and it feels like very uncomfortable for the learner at that time. And I feel like if I can solve that problem, it's not just help me, it also help a lot of people. So I just like thinking like I want to make this page better, and then like I start to contribute to Kubernetes back into that time. So just open the PR and ask some people like, this is the issue in the base of the learner and I want to solve it, how I can do it. And like one of the another contributor experienced one, like they just reply into my issue and they say, oh you need to review a contributor.md to know like how you can like start to open up an issue and then open the PR and like ask for review, stuff like that. And then I joined the Kubernetes Slack channel at that time to ask people to review my PR and give opinion about my PR. So actually like that's it, one of the stage then I start. So it means like I want to learn about Kubernetes. I want to complete my knowledge about software development lifecycle. When I learn about Kubernetes, I feel I have a lot of like errors in the document side, and I want to have the learner like me to be able to like learning the correct and updating knowledge at that time, and I start to make it better. But back into that time, like I just do a lot of the document improvement for Kubernetes from the learner side. And when I joined the Slack of Kubernetes, back into that time, had one of the SIG. So SIG is SRG, is a special interest group. So when you start to ask the questions, people will try to direct you into one of the SIG. That's all a feature or all of material in Kubernetes. And some of the maintainer in that SIG will answer your questions in the best way. So a lot of like the documentation or like the contributor onboarding in Kubernetes belong into one of SIG named SIG Contribex. So SIG Contribex is SIG contributor experience. And like they have to like onboarding the new contributor. They interact a lot like to the tutorial for the developer and like also contributor in Kubernetes, stuff like that. So I engage with a few maintainer in SIG Contribex, and start to help them to clean their backlog, to help them to close the issue, to review the PR of another contributor, and gradually to involve more, to move out SIG country back, enjoy the SIG release, and have the release process of the main Kubernetes and the release process of another small team in Kubernetes, like cluster APIs or SIG etcd. So etcd is kind of a key value base for Kubernetes. Yeah, that's what I started, I keep working until now.
Wow. So it's interesting. It was quite an organic introduction to Kubernetes. Like you needed to use Kubernetes. The documentation wasn't doing it for you. You're like, well, how can I contribute to that? And it sort of flowed from there. That's quite cool. Yeah. I guess one of the questions I have is that, and because I know we had a chat probably a couple of months ago now, but how much time do you spend, contributing to Kubernetes each week? How much of a commitment is it?
Wow, let me thinking. Should I confess for you, or should I make it? Should I make it a little bit because I hope I can help another people if they're interested contributing to open source. If not Kubernetes, any open source or any piece of technology, but they have to improving. They will feel easy to just jump in and inspire them. But the fact that I will not try to sugarcoat everyone. So at the beginning, it's very beginning, back into 2023, when I started joining Kubernetes by learning and just contributing. At that time, I still at the uni, so I'm not spend a lot of time. I think it's just 5 hours in a week around that, to have to read APR, improving the documentation, have people to review PR, stuff like that. But how to say, it will be depends on yourself and about the way you want to involving, whether you want to contribute more, because when you contribute more, you will learn more, and then you will also expand your network in the community. But it depends on each of people. So I know a few person is kind of they're very casual contributor, and they also not really want to become a permanent contributor. So we will have some we call a contributor ladder. So you can be just a one-off contributor, you see an issue in the Kubernetes feature, you want to just open a quick PR. It's easy to solve. It's just 5 lines of code changing. And then you can make that PR, and then when you can close that PR, you can merge it and then you can just completely off. You don't need to continue your contributing. It depends on you. There's a lot of contributor doing in that way. A few contributor, they really committed, they're really passionate about the community. It's not just about I want to make this piece of technology being better, but I want to create a community. I want to help another people, and this is the field I'm very interested. So I can dedicate more time for it, and especially when you climb up the contributor ladder. So at the beginning, when you're just a casual contributor, you don't have the org membership. So everyone in the community, when they want to get involving, they will try to secure the org membership, Kubernetes membership. And in the Kubernetes membership, they have a certain requirement for you in the number of contribution. And then you have someone to sponsor you in the community. And then when you get the membership, they also have the requirement for you to keep active, keep contributing. Otherwise, after 6 months, your membership will be withdrawn, stuff like that. So if you want to maintaining your membership, you keep active to contribute. And when you contribute in the certain amount of time and being recognized by the community, being recognized by a SIG, you cannot just become a contributor, you can become a maintainer. After a maintainer, you can become the owner or sub-project owner. And after that, you can become a tech lead of a SIG. So you can you can become a tech lead of SIG nodes, or you can, after that, you can become a chair of SIG node. Stuff like that to direct the development in the direction of that feature or the way of Kubernetes to develop in the future. If you want to get more involving and more contribution, it really depends on each people. But for me, myself, at the beginning, I just dedicated around, maximum 5 hours, because I still back into the uni. I'm still have uni stuff, and that I still need to apply for job, and I still have my internship. Working in open source, I just want to emphasize for you, it's an unpaid job. It's completely volunteer. Even though you become a tech lead of SIG, I rarely see they earn any money, like Kubernetes not pay for them. And even though like CNCF, like one of the foundation who support Kubernetes, also not pay for you. This completely volunteer and unpaid. I mean, even you spend 8 hours a day to contribute to Kubernetes, but sometimes it's not earn any money. So back into that time, it's just 5 hours a day for me. And then when I moved into, like, I joined the release team. And release team, it have some certain like commitment to involve in, like, you need to release. We release every 4 months. So it's increasing the number of time I spend in Kubernetes. But yeah, it really depends on each people.
What do you think the biggest week is? Like the most time you spent on the project in a week?
The most busy week in release team for me, personally, it will be the week of like week ending. We nearly closing the release cycle. So it will be around like week 11 or week 12 of the release cycle. And it depends on the team. So in release team, we have the release signal team, we have the release enhancement team, we have the release doc team, and we have the release communication team. All of them like form the release team. So we have around like 30 members in the release team. In each sub-team, we have around 5 members. So it really depends on the work of the team. So previously, I've been in the release signal. So release signal is the team who like mainly to manage the test script of Kubernetes, and will be the team who ensure all the flaky tests and the failing tests in the dashboard of a SIG release being resolved before or every release cut, because we want to ensure the quality of the release is the highest possible. So release signal is a little bit like BC team, because they also need to like to observe the test script. Is kind of like in observability. We need to monitor the test script, and like we get the alerts about the flaky test and failing test, and we quickly escalate it into the dedicated SIG in charge to get resolved very quickly. So it's a little bit busy team. So I would like to say in the end of the release cycle, you may need to spend around like 1.5 or 2 hours in a day. An entire week, it can be around like, I mean, it can be 10 or like 12 hours per week, but it really depends on people. So if at that time, a lot of flaky test and failing test occur in the test script, so the number of time you're dedicating may be increasing. But we also have a team to support each other. So we have 5 members, and 5 members live in like different country in different time zone. So anyone like submit very quickly when they see any alerting about the failing or flaky test, and like we try to escalate it, and like we try to triage and resolve it very quickly. So it's about team collaboration at that time, and to ensure the release cut. And even though when the cut is happen and have a flaky test, very suddenly occur. So we post the test, and we try to resolve we post the cut, and then we try to resolve the failing test very quickly before we can continue to proceed to the cut, stuff like that. So the most busy week will be, personally for me, in the release signal, will be the end of the release cycle when we do the final release cut.
Okay. Yep. Well, I think if we've established that there's, you spend quite a bit of time on this, could be 5 to 10 hours a week, depending. You don't get paid for it. So I guess my question is, and this is from you, something you want to talk about. So how has it helped you grow? Well, what do you get out of it?
That's another really interesting question. How to say, I am the person who completely start from open source when I still at the university, right? So I graduated in 2023, and also I started working Kubernetes in 2023 before I graduated. So I am kind of you can define me an engineer who start directly from open source. Back into that time, to be honest with you, it's a short for me to learning and get hands-on, and being able to connect with the people in the industry. So back into 2023, that's my purpose. So working in Kubernetes will give me the opportunity to get hands-on. A lot of people train me and teach me everything from scratch, from like how to create an issue, how to make the issue like informative, like what's the template of issue, what's the information you should put in the issue to the maintainer or the contributor to get the information directly. They don't need to ask a few questions, or they don't need to like go to you to find like why you create that issue, what's the problem, what's the root cause, stuff like that, and how to create a PR, how to review a PR, how to write Go code or Bash script. Like back into that time, like I literally learned everything about Go programming or Bash when I contribute to Kubernetes, and how I can develop myself like a lot of contributor, experienced contributor to teach me or like guide me by their comment in the PR, by the way they review the code, the way they like ask me questions for clarification in the my PR. And a lot of them is a very experienced software engineer in the world. A lot of them come from a very big company like Google, Facebook, Amazon, or Netflix. If I'm sick in Melbourne, Australia, and I go to apply for a job, to be honest, it's really hard for a junior like me to be able to access into that resource or like connect with that community. I learned everything from very beginning from the Kubernetes community. I learned about the concept of platform engineer, observability, or even though about the site reliability from contributing to open source as well. So I mean, you are experienced employee. You work in, I believe, like you work in this industry for quite a long time than me, a lot. Have you ever seen like any junior who can like start to talking to you about the difference between DevOps and like platform engineer in very, very beginning? Have you ever seen anyone can talking to you about like the container orchestration? Even though I told you that I am start contributing to Kubernetes in very, very early in my career. But to be honest with you, I need to admit with you, the concept of like container orchestration is really hard for a junior to be able to get it.
I think it's hard for everyone. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And how to say, back into like when I still at the uni, I don't have a resource to do a lot of project in the cloud computing. For example, to be honest, like I have one of the subject about the cloud computing, allow me to use AWS at that time for free, but it's just like within one semester. So it's around like 3 months. After that, if I want to learn about AWS or everything about the cloud computing or learning about cloud native or on kind of that, it's really limited for me. I mean, if you want to use AWS for your personal project, you need to pay for it, for example. Yeah. You don't have a lot of time to hands-on. If you want to hands-on, you need to apply for a job, get into a company, like working in the company and using resource in the internal company. If you are individual, actually you don't have that type of resource and that type of knowledge. You can learn from the YouTube, but it's kind of like really theory for you. You don't have a lot of opportunity to hands-on. So start from open source, like they give me a lot of opportunity to like, if you want to like, to fix some like infra issue, just join the 6 KAS infra in Slack channel. Like they have a list of issues for you to solve all the infra from AWS cloud provider or Google or Google GCP or Azure. They have a lot of things for you, and you can ask any questions, and people will like try to explain for you. Like if you contribute for a while, like you get to know about the community. It's really easy for you to go into one of the tech lead and chair the SIG and they ask them, what's it the concept, like the infrastructure? Can you explain for me about this architecture? They will very quickly to zoom in the hurdle and explain it for you. So, I mean, that's it. The open source give me the opportunity to learn in like hands-on at the same time, and give me opportunity to work with people around the world, to open my mindset, to learn about a lot of best practice from like different country, different industry, different company, a different culture as well. So that's it. The way I feel the benefit when I starting from open source.
So coming from this part of the world, I'm obviously from New Zealand. Yes. I know that our time zone doesn't necessarily align with other parts of the world. Is it extra challenging for you working in Australia?
Yeah, well, that's one of the most challenging for people to contribute if you outside of the US in the Europe as well. It's not just in Australia. I mean, if you're living in like another, like in Japan, in China, or like in other APAC country, so majority based on one of the report from CNCF. So I see in QCon London in a few months ago they have a map about a maintainer distribution of maintainer based on the country, and like a lot of maintainer actually like they will located in the US and in the Europe region. So time zone is kind of like one of the challenge. But I think like Kubernetes, I know that like a lot of like open source project is really hard to have a well structured and a support like Kubernetes. But that's speak from my experience and also my observation. In Kubernetes, people really advocate for the diversity, and they really want to like to onboarding the contributor from different regions, even outside the US or Europe. So you will see like normally in each of the six, they will have a different community meeting time zone. For example, in SIG release, we have a community release team meeting in every Wednesday. And this meeting will be hosted in two different time zones. So one of the meeting we host in the APAC time zone. And I usually to participate in that meeting, and I host that meeting a few times. So it's convenient for us. It will be around like 4:30 in Australia, and I believe it will be around like 6:30 in New Zealand. And everyone in New Zealand can join. Even though you are in India or China, you also can join this time zone. Another time zone will be hosted in the US and the Europe time zone. So it will be around like 4 a.m. in our time. So it's a little bit inconvenient, but if you join the community, so normally they try to organize like two different meeting in two different time zones, and everyone can a chance to participate. That's the first one. The second one, if you cannot participate, majority of the time the community meeting always being recorded and uploaded into the Kubernetes YouTube channel, so you can watch the recording. And then you can ask any question on Slack channel for all the dead list, all the chair, all the active contributor. They will try to help you to solve your problem. That is the second one. The third one, that's it, everyone can participate into the meeting. You don't need to become a member. I mean, you don't need to become a release team member to join the Kubernetes release team meeting. You can I mean, this is open source. It's very open for everyone in the world. You can just join in. You can, I mean, we are very welcome for you to observe. We are very welcome for you to listening. You even don't need to ask a question. We don't push a question for you to ask any new contributor to ask any question. So you can just, if you're interested, you can just join in and then you can observe. And a lot of our contributor, I mean, one of the person I know in SigDog, like he was a tech lead of SigDog, but like the way he started, that he joined a community meeting and then he just volunteered to take note for the meeting because he totally knew, and then he just wanted to observe people actively listening, and then he volunteered for take note. That's the way like he started to get to know about the process, get to know about the people working in SIG, and get to know about what's the issue, needs volunteer at the moment, and then he started contributing from that. That's another thing. I mean, that's open source, to be honest, it's very open. Everyone can join, and they try to like open the opportunity and open the door for everyone. So currently in Kubernetes, we have a lot of meeting in APAC time zone, and we have another meeting in US and Europe time zone for everyone. So, yeah.
Cool. How many people are there in Oceania? For those who don't know what that is, that's Australia, New Zealand. Like, how many contributors are there?
Actually, it's just based on my observation and my experience. To be honest, I don't have an official data from CNCF to share with you.
Sure.
But based on my experience and observation, like during my 2 years in Kubernetes, I mean, two countries, we may have around 10 to 15 contributors, I would like to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many in the whole project?
How many for entire Kubernetes?
Yeah. Like I just is it like? I guess my point is, are there enough contributors from Australia and New Zealand?
No, I think like for us, it's maybe less than 1% of like contributor and maintainer. One of the report in CNCF in 2023 talking about the state of the cloud native in the APAC. So the APAC is not just Australia and New Zealand, they're including big country like China, Japan, or like India, or another country in the APAC like Singapore, Thailand. And the reason we don't have a lot of like contributor or maintainer is may come from a very, very tough high level. It means like about the adoption of the cloud native in our regions, about the number of end user like our country, whether like we're using cloud native technology in building our product, about the vendor operation in this APAC market, and then they go down about like the number of like community builder, how many CNCF ambassador in our region. So in our region, in New Zealand, we have 2 ambassador, in Australia we have 2 ambassador. In comparison with India, India have more than like 40 ambassador. So you can see, and the number of the community event to be able to let people to connect with each other and learning and exchange the knowledge. So in Australia, last year we have that's the first time we have Q Day. It's a kind of like mini conference of QCon organized in Australia. We have the Kubernetes Community Day. It's named KCD for short in Sydney. But like the number of participants is also like less than the number of KCD organized in around the world. So around the world, most of KCD, we have around like 600 to 1,000 participants. But for Australia, we just have a half. It's around like 300 to 400, I would like to say. So, Yep.
No, I think it's fair to say that you would be quite keen to grow the number of contributors from Oceania. Is that true? You'd like to see more people come?
I really hope to see more contributor and maintainer from Australia and New Zealand. To be honest, how to say, it's been during 2 years. I start from 2023 until now, right? I also like when I met a new people and like when I share about my story, and I also ask whether they want to start to contribute to open source or not. To be honest, like a lot of the time, people really interesting, but they like when talking about the starting of they really hesitate. The first thing, let's see, even though I start in this pathway, but do you know, like I don't think I see any like role model for me, like anyone who was software engineer and working in open source and like very successful and can develop their career later in that way. Open source is still like a side hustle work. So it means like you work in your company from 9 to 5, and then after that from 5 to 9 or 5 to midnight, you spend to work in open source. It's really, it's a lifestyle. It's really hard to afford for a lot of people. Most of the time, like if you want to work in open source, you will need to ask your company to sponsor you. So you come to your manager, your head of department, and ask, I work in open source. Can you like give me around 2 hours or like 3 hours in a working hour day? They let me to contribute to open source. It's a thing. It's a lot of like big tech company like Google, Facebook, Amazon can support you. But like outside the big tech company, it's a local company. Even though a giant company, it's really hard to afford for you to doing that, or it's really hard to have a culture to support you to doing that. That's the first difficulty. Like we don't have it's not very not very common for us to have a chief of open source officer like in the company. Really hard to have like open source strategy or open source direction in the technology strategy in our OKR or the year or stuff like that. It's not very common. That's the thing is just a very big tech company can afford. That's the first one. The second one, even though I told you about like in Kubernetes, we are like try really inclusive in diversity. So we have 2 meeting hours for the APAC time zone in the US and like Europe time zone. But how to say, sometimes you need to know majority of maintainer and the tech lead engineer will not based on your location. So you not receive the instant support. So sometimes like you ask a question, sometimes you write a PR, you need to wait for 1 day, 2 days, or even 2 weeks to get the response. And it's really easy for people to drop out because they don't have enough patience. They cannot wait for a long time. Some PR, you need to work for entire year to be able to close the PR. It's very common. It's very common, yeah. So people drop out because of that. That's why it's also another reason. The third one is about the community. Like we are in very early stage. We don't have a lot of open source contributor like me to have a new contributor. So for example, if you are from Australia and you want to start to contribute to Kubernetes, for example, like now you have Wendy, but like when I start, to be honest, like I couldn't find anyone in Australia. I nearly to just like work on my own and try to asking people and I try to find some people from Australia to be able to connect with, to share the story and try to learning. But to be honest, I couldn't find anyone. So the way that we don't have a lot of contributor and maintainer to support each other and support the new contributor is also another challenge for people to want to onboarding. But to be honest, I believe in the potential of our region, you know. Australia and New Zealand we don't have a very big community because of a lost region I just shared, but we do have maintainer. We do have an active contributor. And I believe that if we keep like connect with each other, if anyone have like aspiration and really want to like start to contribute to open source or learning about open source and start their career, and we do have a support system. I mean, it's gradually to become bigger and bigger in the future. But I really encourage people, if you think this is the way you want to do, or this is the way you want to learning, like just start to do it.
Yeah. So maybe that's a great thing to close on, is that if there's people out there, especially in New Zealand and Australia, who'd like to get involved in the project, I mean, I can say, so one of them is you can talk to Wendy. I'll be linking her like her LinkedIn and the description of the episode. You've also listed a bunch of programs that people could look at potentially joining, which I can also link in the description. And so are these the sort of programs that help you get on boarded? Like what like the CNCF from Zero to Merge program, for example? Like what are these programs about?
Yeah, so CNCF Zero to Merge program is like it mainly target in the beginner of open source. So they will give you an overview about the entire CNCF ecosystem. So CNCF is not only have Kubernetes, we have a lot of like different projects. We have Istio, we have CD, Envoy, Rosie.
Telemetry.
Yeah, open telemetry. So it will give you the knowledge about the entire CNCF ecosystem, and then it will give you the kind of like a guidance on like how to start to contribute, how to find a good first issue, how to join the Slack channel and connect with the community, how to ask for help, stuff like that. So it's from zero to merge. It means it's target for the beginner who new in the open source and want to start to contribute to CNCF project. It's very good start at the beginning. A lot of like contributor in Kubernetes community also start from CNCF Zero to Merge as well. So if you're interested, just pay attention on that. Another project I think is also very, very good. That's the LFX mentorship. So LFX is a Linux Foundation. So Linux Foundation is one of the foundation, is a parent foundation of CNCF. And they are support a lot of projects even outside CNCF. It can be about like even the edge computing or the mainframe project is also under the Linux Foundation. So Linux LFX mentorship is one of the mentorship like it gives you opportunity to also contribute to open source project. We think mainly for CNCF, and it have a dedicated mentor to support you within the time of the mentorship. So it will be around, depends on the project, but most of the time it will be around 3 to 4 months, and you will receive a stipend, it means the money, during the time you contribute to LFX mentorship. So it's very, very good program, and I really recommend you to joining. They open twice in the years. It have 2 different periods to open in the autumn and in the winter, if I'm not remember wrong. So just pay attention into LFX mentorship. I mean, even I tell you like working in open source, they mainly unpaid, but that's the mentorship they will pay you. So, but it will require time for commitment when working a project. It may around 8 hours in a week or some kind of that. It really depends on the project. So read the description and the requirement very carefully and apply if you're interested. Similarly, the Google Summer of Course is also one of the mentoring program for people who want to like contribute into open source, but they are not just about the project in CNCF. They cover open source around the world. I mean, if you love contribute to Python, I mean, a lot of Python in Google Summer of Course as well. etc. So it's similar, but it's a bigger. It's not just limit in the CNCF. So you can start to contribute in Google Summer of Code. And yeah, within a Kubernetes, we also have a lot of like mentoring for people to want to join a SIG, for example, in like SIG release. If you want to join the Kubernetes release team, so we open application for the contributor to join the release. Is when we assemble the release team in like the beginning of each release cycle. It's have an application. You need to fill out the application, and then we have the lead, the sub-project list and release list to review the application of each of you, and then we will I'm really sorry to say it's kind of a recruitment process. It's not a recruitment process, but we just try to let people to have opportunity to join the release team and to do a shadowing in the release team. And normally the slot we have in the release team is less than the demand or the interest in the community. So most of the time we will receive kind of like 100 applications.
Wow.
For each of like the team is only having 5 members, 5 shadow and 1 of the sub-team lead, right? So it's a little bit competitive, and like a lot of like senior is also applied. So sometimes you will feel like even you apply multiple times, but you not get any good result. Just be patient and apply in another time. In the meantime, I try to contribute in a small issue first to let people to know about like your contribution. And in the next time when you apply, it will like, I hopefully you have a good result for you, but it's a little bit competitive. But the experience is really rewarding, I would like to say, because they have a very well structure for mentoring the shadow and have the shadow to learn about the release process, as well as to roll into the sub-team lead. And even though after that, you can become the release lead of Kubernetes in the future, if you're in the release team for a couple of times and then you understand about the process or stuff like that. So we also have the release team shadowing program. It's a couple of mentoring program for anyone who wants to join the release team. So yeah. You've listed out quite a bunch of different programs that you could join. I'm going to put a link to all of them in the description. So if you're listening to this and you're wanting to get involved, go to the description. You can see all the different links to different ways that you can get involved. Yeah, yes. That's awesome. Yeah, but also talk to Wendy. Talk to you. Well, would you be comfortable with people like Kitty reaching out to you and say, hey, I want to get involved in the Kubernetes project? How do I do it? Yeah, or feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or like just reach out to me in Kubernetes Slack or like CNCF Slack. You can just, it's very easy to find my name in or this Slack channel and just send me a message and say, hey, I am new in the open source. I roam Australia and New Zealand and I want to know how to start. Can you point me into some resource? And then based on your interest, I will try my best to share with you some resources that are valuable for you and help to get started.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Winnie, for taking time to chat about this today. I had no idea. I've never been involved in an open source project, not even OpenTelemetry. Don't tell anyone. But yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. And I really do hope that people reach out and want to get involved. I think it's just awesome talking to you. You're such an engaged engineer, like early in your career. I think it's just awesome to see someone who's just so motivated and interested and excited by this stuff. So yeah, just thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you to you, Stefan. And I hope you have a great night and hope to see you around.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to join the Kubernetes project, but I may contribute to OpenTelemetry in the future. It is something I'm interested in. But I've got kids and dogs, and I don't know. I would find it hard to commit their time when I'm already doing the podcast, right? Which is the other thing that I do, sort of to contribute in some way to the community. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much again for joining the show, and to everyone else out there, hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.
All right. Yes. Thanks, Stephen.